Hi everyone, this is ARRR from the YouTube channel Starpath Academy. And today I would want to talk about a couple of things that may change on the channel. And one thing is that I'm going to try to focus more on things that you could do and how things are going to get better. I think in the long run, whatever the economic situation we're going through, it's gonna get better, and not the wishy-washy you're gonna be happy with eating bugs sort of stuff. But I do believe there are economic contractions and economic turmoils, and from these, some new opportunities will arise. And I should probably talk more about those things instead of how to contract and how to ball up your operations and expect the worst, because I think that topic is now saturated on the internet, at least from what I see on YouTube. And I feel that we need a little bit of optimism, and especially because of the way I make my videos and talk a bit slowly, and I'm usually tired by the end of the day, physically and mentally. And when I make the videos, some of you have noted that, oh, I might be, looking out for horrible outcomes, or I'm thinking that something is absolutely horrible with the economy, is imminent or something like that. It's been imminent for the last, I don't know, X years, and we're just waiting for the next pop. So I'm not too concerned about that, but I need to probably play with open cards a little bit and talk about the good things too. Because as humans, we cannot fight against something. We need to fight for something. And if we keep on talking more and more about the World Economic Forum and how the CBDC jail system is being built for you and that sort of stuff, it will wear you down. Now, I'm not worn down, but it might wear you down, especially if you're new to this or some of this knowledge. So let's not focus on that, but let's focus on what's happening and what might happen. So hopefully I can deliver on that, and even talk more about the positives during the Romanian hyperinflation, right? So I'm gonna try to focus on that, but this channel is sort of a fun pastime for me. So I'm gonna do my best, and you'll be there to remind me to kind of speak more positively. Okay, so let's do that. I don't script night videos. I never have. I don't think I ever have, and I'm not gonna do it. So whatever comes, right? And then I think that's necessary for me to stay truer to myself, which some of you have noted. So so this is not a promise, but I'm gonna try to do that. So why don't we start with something, right? Let's start with the fact that whatever times are coming, or whatever times we are experiencing now with deflation or money contraction, or maybe some sectors of the economy shrinking, I think that's a good thing. Like the hardcore capitalists have been saying that we need these events, right, to kind of wash out the trash companies that have been living off of cheap dollars an ever increasing debt, right? Which cannot continue. So it will wash out. The problem with this is that some people have knowingly built, unicorn companies out of nothing, duped everyone into investing them. They got out in time, and now capitalism is for the rest of you to kind of wash out the trash, right? So how we're gonna deal with that, I don't know, but what I'm saying that these events are necessary somewhat. And that's also true for personal life. I think in Romanian, prietenul la nevoie se cunoaște means that you get to know your friends in harder times, right? That is when you really experience who they are, right? When you need their help, or when they need your help. That is when you realize who you really are, right? Because in all the good times and all the ever expanding economic, I should say, bubblenomic experience that we had in the last 20 years or so, it's easy to malinvest, it's easy to gamble, and life is good and you're living high, right? And I think other side needs to be experienced as well in some cases. And even if it's not economic hardship, knowing that, okay, things need to change, and how you're going to change, and how you can be kind of a role model for the rest of the community to change, right? That's important, because I think that is when like the stronger cohesion gets formed, right? When people have strong opinions, whether it was the pandemic, whether it was something else, when people formed very, very strong opinions, there were two types of people, well, probably more, but these two are definitely there. The ones who, from the people who had strong opinions, one who had strong opinion, and if you didn't have the same strong opinion, they would disconnect, right? They would unfriend you, not talk to you for the rest of your life anymore, and that sort of stuff. And the other people who just like had strong feelings or strong emotions towards the other thing, but then they said, okay, you'll come around eventually, and I know I'm right, and so on and so forth, but they did not disconnect from you, right? And like those are the friends that you'll keep for the long run. So I think that was very similar in hyperinflationary environment Romania. Some friends and family kind of disconnected during those times. If you were not able to help them in certain ways that they would have needed help, then they would disconnect from you. Or if you needed help, they would ignore you, right? And then you would know, like, if they're really friends, or are these relatives worthwhile to keep in touch with. And that's unfortunate, but it has happened. So I think these are times to look forward to, because you get to know yourself more. Like, will you help others when they need it? Especially if you're prepared, right? If you're prepared and things go according to your, what you see things are coming to, what will you do when your friends and family might need your help? And I think the easiest way there is that, easiest answer for me is that usually you cannot help. You cannot help others because it's not up to you to help others. And please stay another few minutes with me to understand this, but usually people cannot be helped. Like, even if you're thinking you're helping them, you're not, right? The only thing you can do is provide them an environment where they can help themselves. So I really liked the approach of sort of Lynette Zhang, right, or some other people that I talked with, is that, hey, I'm not gonna give you stuff directly, but this part of the garden is there specifically for people who are passing by, right, so they can pick fruits from, or that sort of stuff. I think that might not work if, like, if the crime situation worsens a lot, but there are other ways that the same principle can be applied, right? And I've heard this, and this also worked back in Romania, was that if you were lucky enough to acquire a larger piece of land, you would have a main house there, right? But then you would have or provide some other, settlements for friends and family who would come in time of need, and they could help you work the land, right? So I think that, like, because I don't necessarily think security wise it's a good thing to do, which might have worked like in some other places in the globe, but I'm not sure if a collapsing empire allows for just letting other people pick the fruits from the edges of your land, because usually what happens if that's no longer enough, right? So you have to think about these things. But usually the way I see how it actually worked was that if you have very close friends or relatives who already have listened to you prior, and for financial reasons only, they did not have adequate preparedness, right? So they did their best, right? They tried, but things happened sooner than they might have thought, right? But you're on the same playing field, you have the same kind of philosophy, right? Definitely philosophy and approach to things that have happened. Maybe you had similar opinions about the pandemic. Maybe you have similar opinions about self-defense, homeschooling, so on and so forth. But for some reason, right, they could not prepare financially for what's to come. Those might be good candidates to come to your land, and not in your house, but somewhere on the land, in other settlements, maybe cabins, that sort of stuff, live and work nearby together, because they might have certain set of skills that you might need. So that was sort of almost naturally formed in Romania in those times, because these old villages were probably, that's how they formed originally. These very old villages where people have lived around their second, third, fourth cousins for a long time, and it was just like that, right? It's very different from villages or the country in the United States, where you have a house, you have around the house, you have many acres and acres, or even hectares of land, and then there's another house, right, with another family. So because of the Mongol invasion and whatnot, some Eastern European cities, or definitely small towns, have evolved in a way where the houses are closer together, right? And they each have a smaller patch of land, and then outside of that limit of this well-protected area, there's also larger swaths of land. And basically a family would have a house, a small patch of land, which may be like 4 acres, 2 acres, right? Behind the house, right? In one elongated shape, and then next to it on both sides, fairly close, other houses, again same type of land, another house, same type of land, and this kind of like spirals out a little bit, and that becomes a smaller town. And around of the edge of the town, there you have larger pieces of land that you can work on for grain and that sort of stuff. And there, if you need to keep animals, then you have a posse, or you have hired people to do that. So that is more like a good way to organize, keep together, right? Keep the family safe, keep everyone safe, but then also have the ability to kind of work on larger pieces of land. Because you'll find out, well, hopefully you don't, right? So staying positive, hopefully you don't, but you have to keep close to good people. That's like one good advice that people can give to each other, because I'm not giving advice, right? But one good advice that people could give to each other is keep good people around you, right? And when things change and shift, I think either you need to relocate if you haven't already, or you might need to have others relocate to where you are if you can support them with infrastructure, right? So that's something that you need to think about. But the biggest positive is right here. Communities will form naturally because they have to, you know. Cohesion will be much stronger. I think the quality of life, not necessarily monetarily speaking, but the actual quality of life of you know, having shared experiences with people who you love and whose company you enjoy, is gonna be better. And that's what like I miss from those times, right? Actually, after hyperinflation was over in Romania, a lot of relatives, you know, went out, and okay, we did no longer need to live together, right? And we always stayed close, like spiritually, mentally, and that way, but physically, you know, we parted. And I felt like that was a big miss, you know, that was a big missed opportunity, because when I was young in Romania, I really enjoyed that we had these larger family gatherings, right? And everybody knew if someone else had like any issues that they needed help with, or that community was much stronger. And it's quite interesting to see in the United States, you see some of that in the Hispanic communities, where they're coming from very like hard, they had hard lives or hardship, right? So you try to keep that, you know. When I was living in Los Angeles or in California, you would see that these bigger like families would come together, they would have food, they would invite you, right, if they already knew you there, and you would have these larger nice families, lots of children, lots of good-hearted people coming together and enjoying their time together, right? And I always felt like, I think that is something that the American people need to get back to. And maybe, like, depending on where you live in the States, maybe you have that, but it's definitely not there in the big cities. And maybe they'll come back. Maybe they'll come back. So the biggest takeaway here is that you have to put your mind through the monetary benefits of what you can do during a collapse, or how you can get rich and that sort of stuff. That's all important, and we'll talk about those things as well. But I think most importantly is that human quality of life. If you are a good-hearted man and you can survive, so you can surround yourself with good people, actually life will become much more enjoyable. So talk to you next time.